Hi there everyone, my name's Neil Howes and I'm a member of St Peter's Church in Thorney, and today's reflection is on Matthew chapter 9 verses 32 to the end. While they were going out, a man who was demon possessed and could not talk was brought to Jesus. And when the demon was driven out, the man who had been dumb spoke. The crowd were amazed and said nothing like this has ever been seen in Israel. But the Pharisees said, "It is by the prince of demons that he drives out demons." Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field." When I read today's passage, one particular phrase stood out for me. When Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion for them because they were harassed and helpless. Perhaps it stood out because it gives us an insight into Christ's humanity, a sense that amidst all the chaos as the crowds pursued Jesus from town to town, as they packed the synagogues to hear him speak and brought their sick out for him to heal, his abiding feeling was one of compassion. And that started me thinking about what compassion really means and its relationship with religion. In doing so, I came across the work of a lady called Karen Armstrong, and she's a remarkable woman. A former Catholic nun, she became a religious historian later in life, and her work led her to the conclusion that one concept lies at the heart of all the world's major religions, and that concept is compassion. It was also her study of other religious traditions that led Karen Armstrong back to a sense of what religion can be and enabled her to look at her own faith in a completely different light. Now, defining what we mean by compassion is not easy. Compassion is more than just sympathy. It's a deep concern for the feeling and suffering of others. But compassion goes beyond that as well. It becomes a desire to take positive action to alleviate the hurt and the pain that we see in other people. Armstrong's point is not that compassion can only be felt by somebody who's religious. That's clearly not the case. The point that she makes, though, is that religion requires more of us than just a belief, that we only really start to properly understand our own faith when we live compassionately in our daily lives. Why? Well, as she puts it, when we feel compassion, we dethrone ourselves from the centre of our world and we put another person there. And it's then that we're ready to see the divine. The good news is that behaving with compassion, it's a choice that we can make at any time. It requires no extra time, no extra money, nothing but an awareness and a decision to lead with love. And compassion is also a two-way street. Behaving with compassion will certainly help others, but it also helps us as well. It helps us to let go of our feelings, our hurt, and in doing so it brings us closer to God. It's not always easy, of course. Often the most difficult people are the ones who need our compassion the most. They may have hurt us or taken advantage of us. And when we feel anger or hurt or frustration, we don't feel that that other person deserves our compassion. But it's at those precise moments that compassion becomes most important. When we don't offer compassion, it hurts ourselves more than it hurts the other person. It focuses our mind on what others have done and not what we can do. Compassion, therefore, allows ourselves a release from all of that. It gives us a positive way out of a negative situation in a way that helps others, and in doing so, helps ourselves. As Karen Armstrong puts it, In the end, it isn't about whether somebody deserves your compassion or not. It's a matter of whether you feel confident and courageous enough to offer it.